Hi everybody, Rabbi Moshe Rothschild here from the Global Israel Alliance, bringing you the update from Israel for the week ending Friday, July 19th, 2019. First of all, before I begin, I must show you something very important. For the first time in my life, I baked bagels. That's right, I baked my own bagels. I'm very proud of that. As you know, Jewish people love bagels. We probably invented them in the 17th century, so I baked my own bagels. Okay, now let's move on. The update from Israel for the week ending, like I said, July 19th. So the Israeli officials are discussing allowing possibly 5,000 workers from Gaza into Israel with special work permits. The idea is that if you give them work and they're getting paid a higher wage than they're receiving in Gaza, that will go a long way to creating maybe peaceful people, because they'll go back to Gaza and then they're not going to want to lose their jobs or not going to want to lose the ability to enter Israel. So if we give them jobs, the thinking is that perhaps it will create some sort of momentum. But the Shin Bet, which is our FBI, is rejecting the idea, since they are not able to guarantee the safety and and security of the Israeli companies that will hire these workers, because they don't have a presence inside Gaza like we do inside what the world calls the West Bank, the Judea and Samaria, where we can actually get some inside information. So we'll see what happens with that. Election update. We know September 17th is going to be the election. So two left-wing parties, the Labour Party and Meretz, which is a far-left party, have agreed to run together on a joint list. The latest polls would show, well, if they got one more party, Ehud Barak's party, another left-wing party together, they would win 15 seats compared to the 10 that they would win if they actually ran separately. Now, that's not bad news for the right-wing parties, because where would those extra 5 seats come from? They would take away from the blue and white party, which is the competition to the Likud. It would take away from another left of center party, so it would not really hurt the right wing. The weather in Israel has been incredibly hot. We've gone through a very severe heat wave, temperatures hitting 100 degrees, and that's very warm considering they were on the mountains. If you go down by Masada, the Dead Sea, the temperatures are hitting 120 degrees, quite warm, very difficult to go into the Dead Sea. It's like going into chicken soup this time of year. A potential 3-year traffic jam has begun at the main intersection at the entrance to Jerusalem. There's major construction going on at the entrance to the city, trying to turn into a major business district, expected to bring an additional 60,000 jobs to Jerusalem. This construction is going to go on for about 3 years. So the road at the entrance to Jerusalem is closed to private cars, but it's still open to buses and to public transportation, such as cabs and things like that. So if you're planning on visiting on a bus tour, you'll still be able to come in through the main entrance, but private cars will not be allowed. U.S. lawmakers, Ilhan Omar and Rashid Tlaib, who are not, to say the least, the greatest fans of Israel, they have announced that they're going to come on a trip to Israel and to quote-unquote Palestine. Don't tell them there is no country called Palestine. But the discussion here in Israel is whether or not Netanyahu would even allow them into the country, because we have a law here that says those who promote BDS, which is the Boycott, Divestment, Sanctions movement against the state of Israel, can be denied entry to the land of Israel. Of course, that's like, I mean, that would seem to be a no-brainer. Those who are working actively to undermine the state of Israel, we shouldn't allow them in. However, they will most likely be allowed in, even though others have been denied entry. And because what happened was that Ilhan Omar, or Omar, I don't know how to pronounce her name exactly. She's the Democratic Congresswoman from Minnesota. She announced that she's going to introduce a bill to permit the pro-BDS activity, meaning that it's not going to be considered a crime or etc. And therefore to support the idea of boycott, divestment, and sanctions against Israel, to introduce that into Congress. What else can I tell you? The U.S. Special Representative for International Relations, which of course you know is Jason Greenblatt, he tweeted this week that hateful ideology is a major challenge to achieving peace in the Middle East. Well, duh, of course it is. But what was he responding to? A senior Hamas official, Fatih Hamad, I doubt he's watching and he won't correct my pronunciation, but Fatih Hamad said as follows: he urged Arabs to, quote, attack every Jew on earth. That's right, not just Jews in Israel, but every Jew on earth. So Greenblatt wrote, and I quote, when speaking about peace, we often hear slogans, but we need to deal in realities. And here's one reality. Watch this video, please. Meaning of that statement. Please, until this hateful ideology is eradicated, this is one of the major challenges to achieve peace. Hello, of course it is. Everybody knows that. But somehow you have nuts going around this world supporting Hamas and Fatah and the Islamic Jihad and the Hezbollah, members of the European Union, even people from the United States supporting them, this hateful ideology. And finally end with some good news. They announced just yesterday in Israel here that they're beginning phase 3 trials for a treatment for pancreatic cancer. In Israel, 1/3 of all cancer sufferers suffer from pancreatic cancer, and worldwide pancreatic cancer was one of the greatest killers. There's very little treatment, very little hope, and so Israel is beginning phase 3 trials for a pancreatic treatment. So we pray deeply that it's successful. Wishing you all a wonderful week. Shabbat Shalom from Israel. And hey, if you want to donate, there's a button at the bottom of the email. Feel free to help us out. We hope you have a great week. This is Rabbi Moshe Rothschild from the Global Israel Alliance, wishing you Shabbat Shalom.